was teaching today and we were working on the Handel F major sonata, the second movement, the Allegro. I will put a link above for my recording of that piece, just so you can reference it. But we were working on this one passage, and I just thought that it might be a concept that's helpful to all of you as well. So I want to share it with you. Basically, the concept of blocked fingers versus independent fingers never gets old. So we have many instances in basically every level of violin repertoire that needs to be addressed. So there's going to be times when we want to use independent fingers where we're lifting individual fingers, and there are times where we want to put all of our fingers down, or we want to actually put combinations of our fingers down. So in this case, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a combination effect. And another way of thinking about it is thinking about fingers as double stops. So where the passage does not look like a double stop, but the fingers are acting like they're playing double stops, and then the bow is playing détaché, like single notes. So I will show you in this passage. It's a place where if you're lifting your fingers too much for every single note, that it's going to sound messy, and that's exactly what happened in the lesson today with my student. So it goes like this. So that's measure 29 right there. And the concept is, if you are lifting your first finger, right, and then you play the next note, this is a C, and then if you lift your first finger here, then you have to just put it back down again, and that's actually extra work. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the F, the first finger here, we're going to leave it there for actually the duration of 3 notes. We're not going to just put it down for a 16th, take it off, put it down for a 16th, and because that's what it looks like on the page. But in fact, we're going to leave it down for the duration of 3 16th notes, and we're only going to lift it when we have to play the E string, E0. All right, so in slow motion, right? Oh, sorry. So see how it's staying there, and then even though I'm playing this note, it's still there, right? And then I take it off, right? And then I'm playing the A string note, but it's still there, okay? And that's going to make the passage sound a lot cleaner. The second thing that I do is that I have a little bit of a double stop moment in there. So basically, so right here, I'm going to have my second finger and my first finger down, right? By leaving the 1 down, we're actually having the 2 and the 1 together, but even though my bow is playing them individually. And the same thing, also one more thing to consider is the C stays there a little bit longer, and then it comes off. The D, because it's on its own string, this is the only note that we're using the A string for, so the finger can stay a bit longer, and that's why that sounds so clean. All right, so, and then I take it off, right, and then it's still there, then I take it off. There's one more tricky thing in this passage. If you happen to be learning this piece right now, then what happens is, right here, when you play the B flat, the finger is going to go on both strings, right? So that's another double stop moment where your finger is playing a double stop, although your bow is not playing a double stop. So we go, right? You see, they're both on, and they're both on the string, both strings, and then I take them both off, and then put the 1 back onto the E string. Okay, so I'll show you a little slow-mo clip here coming up. Okay, and then, so keep that 1 there, and then, so watch my first finger, how long it stays, right, and then I kind of move it over, or you can just put it on right now for the fifth. So I'm going to insert some close-ups in there so you can see. So that's just a little helpful things that violinists do that, you know, from the audience, you know, vantage point, that you can't see it's going on. But we have to think about these things all the time. We have to plan ahead. We have to plan ahead for our bow. We have to plan ahead for our fingers. And sometimes, you know, I can spot that actually from a mile away. I'm playing the passage and I can see it coming up, and then I'm going to get my fingers ready in advance. Some of it's just second nature, because the more you do this type of thing where you're not lifting every single, you know, finger all the time unnecessarily, the more you do it, the more you're going to see that you're going to recognize it in the music, okay? And then also sometimes you realize that something sounds messy, and then at that point then you realize, oh, I'm lifting my finger too much, and then you kind of plan it out after the fact. And sometimes I write little notes in there if it's a spot that I particularly forget, you know, and then you just have to train your fingers. So, you know, every person is at a different level, you know, in their violin playing. So if you're not used to this, you're going to have to really slow it down and kind of train your fingers to stay down. There are, you know, different stages of development. So many people might be at that stage. I'm not sure, you know, who's watching. So many of you could be at that stage where your bow and your finger are acting in the same way. And as we get to more and more difficult music, we realize that actually we have to train our left-hand fingers and our bow arm to do different things, and we do that quite often. So this is a really good chance to kind of break that that codependency and try to you know, individualize the left hand and then get the bow doing something else. Okay, so anyway, hope that helps. Good luck to you.